The wind howled through the Andes Mountains. Snow danced in the air like tiny white ghosts, swirling around a hidden research base carved into the side of a mountain. Few people knew it existed. Even fewer had ever been inside. Deep within that base, Dr. Elena Marquez stepped off the elevator and into a world unlike any other. She was no stranger to strange things. A xenobiologist by training, Elena had spent years studying life forms that most people wouldn't believe even existed. From deep-sea creatures with glowing skin to insects that could live in boiling water, she had seen nature's weirdest tricks, or so she thought. But this was different. This time she wasn't looking at a bug or a fish. She was about to meet something from another planet. Her boots clicked on the metal floor as she walked down the hallway. The walls were thick, built to keep secrets. This place, known only as a Facility Theta, had gone silent for weeks after the discovery. No news leaks, no photos, just silence. And then, suddenly, Elena got the call. "Come immediately," they said. "You're needed." Now here she was, standing outside a reinforced steel door labeled, "Subject Lumea, Level 9 clearance only." She took a deep breath and swiped her badge. With a hiss, the door opened. Inside was a large circular room lit by soft blue lights. In the center stood a glass dome tall enough to fit a person. Inside the dome sat the alien. Elena stopped walking. She stared. It looked almost human, but not quite. It had long limbs, pale, translucent skin, and veins that glowed faintly green beneath the surface. Its eyes, and if you could even call them that one, were huge, black, and filled with depth like looking into the night sky. It didn't blink. It didn't move. It just watched. Elena felt a chill crawl up her spine. Behind her, a voice broke the silence. "She hasn't moved in hours," said Colonel Reyes, a grizzled man in military uniform. "We don't know what she wants, or if she even knows where she is." "She?" Elena asked. "We assume female," Reyes replied, "based on anatomy." Elena approached slowly. She pressed her hand against the cool glass, staring at the creature inside. Up close it was even more bizarre. There were no visible ears, no nose, just smooth skin and those haunting eyes. "What happened when you found her?" Elena asked. Reyes crossed his arms. "A farmer in Argentina saw a bright light fall from the sky. Military picked it up. The ship was small, not much bigger than a car. When we opened it, she was inside, alive, barely breathing. And now, she survived, but she doesn't eat, doesn't speak, doesn't sleep. We've tried everything. Nothing works." Elena nodded. She studied the readings on the monitor beside the dome. Heart rate, slow, breathing, shallow, brain activity, unusual patterns. This was no normal being. "I want to talk to her," Elena said. Reyes frowned. "How?" "She doesn't speak our language." "I'll find a way." Over the next few days, Elena began her work. She brought in lights of different colors. She played sounds. She showed images. She tried every form of communication she could think of. Lumea, that's what they started calling her, watched everything with curious silence. Then, one day, something changed. Elena turned off all the lights except for one red lamp. She pointed it at the wall and drew a circle with her finger. Lumea tilted her head. Then slowly she raised her hand and made the same shape in the air, using glowing lines of green light that came from her fingertips. Elena gasped. "She's responding," she whispered. From that moment on, their communication grew. They used lights and shapes. They mirrored each other's movements. Slowly, they built a language, not with words, but with symbols. Elena started to understand something. Lumea wasn't afraid, she was lonely. Sometimes Elena would sit for hours just watching her, talking without talking, trying to learn who or what she really was. But there were others in the facility who didn't share her curiosity. "They shouldn't have brought her here," muttered Private Carter, one of the guards. "What if she's dangerous?" "She's not," Elena snapped. "She's trying to communicate. She hasn't eaten in days, she barely moves. You sure she's even alive? Elena didn't answer. She didn't know. One night, alone in her lab, Elena reviewed footage from earlier sessions. She noticed something strange. Whenever she made a new symbol, Lumea's glowing veins pulsed slightly faster. Could it be possible? Was Lumea reacting? Emotionally? Excited by the idea, Elena decided to test it. The next morning, she entered the dome room wearing gloves and carrying a small device to measure brainwaves. She sat across from Lumea and held out her hand. Just held it there. Lumea stared at her. Then slowly she reached out too. Their fingers touched, and everything went wrong. In an instant, Elena screamed. Not because of pain, because of feeling. It was like someone had poured 1,000 emotions into her body at once. Joy, fear, sadness, longing, all mixed together in a storm that knocked her backward. She pulled away, panting, eyes wide. "What happened?" shouted a technician rushing in. I don't know," Elena whispered. "I touched her and I felt her." Reyes arrived moments later. "You were told not to make physical contact," he growled. "I had to try," Elena said, still shaking. "She's not just smart, she's connected. Somehow, she can feel us, maybe even read us." Reyes looked at Lumea, who now sat quietly again as if nothing had happened. "This changes everything," he said. "No," Elena said softly. "It just means we have to be careful." But the damage was done, word spread fast. Some called it a miracle, others called it a threat, and soon the whole facility was buzzing with rumors. Dr. Marquez touched the alien and lost her mind. "That thing isn't harmless, it's dangerous. We should destroy it before it does something worse." Elena knew she had to act quickly. She needed answers. Why had Lumea come here? What did she want? And why did touching her feel like opening a door to another world? As she looked back at Lumea through the glass, she realized one thing. This was only the beginning. Elena sat alone in a small room with only a desk, a chair, and a blinking screen. She was still shaking. She had just touched Lumea, the alien girl from another world, and something inside her head had opened. It wasn't pain. It wasn't voices. It was like someone had turned on a light that wasn't meant to be turned on. Her heart was racing. "What did I feel?" she whispered to herself. The memory came back in flashes, a rush of feelings, not hers, flooding into her body. Fear, hope, sadness, curiosity, all at once, like she had briefly become someone else, or maybe not someone else. Something else, something very, very different. There was a knock at the door. "Dr. Marquez," said Colonel Reyes's voice. "We need to talk." Elena opened the door slowly. Reyes stepped in, followed by two other scientists, Dr. Kim and Dr. Patel. They looked serious. "We heard what happened," Reyes said. "You touched it." "It's not an it," Elena snapped. "It's Lumea. And yes, I touched her, accidentally." "Accidentally?" Dr. Kim asked, raising an eyebrow. "I wanted to test if she could react emotionally," Elena explained. "I didn't think anything would happen." "You screamed so loud they heard you 2 floors down," Reyes said. "What did happen?" Elena took a deep breath. "I don't know how to explain it," she said. "But when I touched her, I felt things, not me. Her. Like I was inside her mind, or maybe she was inside mine." The others looked at each other. "That's impossible," Dr. Patel said. "We haven't seen any evidence of telepathy or psychic abilities." "But we've never made physical contact before," Elena said. "Maybe her biology is designed for this. Maybe touching is how she communicates." Reyes crossed his arms. "This changes everything," he said, "and not in a good way." Door tests. Begin later that day. Elena stood in the medical lab, watching as machines beeped and buzzed around her. They had taken scans of her brain after the incident. Blood tests, heart rate, eye movement, even brainwave activity. Nothing was normal. "Your neural patterns are off," Dr. Kim said, pointing at a chart, "like something rewired your brain for a few seconds." "Rewired?" Elena asked. Not permanently, Dr. Patel added quickly. But for a short time your brainwaves matched something we've never seen before. Almost like another species. Elena swallowed hard. And Lumea? She asked. She's stable, Dr. Kim said. But her energy levels spiked the moment you touched her, like she was sending out a signal. A signal? Elena repeated. Yes, Dr. Patel said. Almost like a broadcast, but not sound, not radio waves. Something else. Elena thought back to the feeling she had experienced. It wasn't like hearing a voice. It was more like being the voice. She doesn't speak, Elena said quietly. She doesn't write. She doesn't move much, but she feels. And she shares those feelings through touch. So she's some kind of emotional sponge? Reyes asked. No, Elena said. More like a mirror. She reflects what she senses, but also sends her own emotions back. Reyes frowned. That's dangerous, he said. She's not trying to hurt anyone, Elena said. She's trying to connect. And what if she connects too much, Reyes asked. What if someone touches her and can't handle it? No one answered. Because they all knew the answer. It could break a person. Panic in the facility. Word spread fast. Even though the staff were trained professionals, fear is faster than facts. By lunchtime, rumors filled the halls. She touched the alien and lost her mind. That thing isn't harmless, it's dangerous. What if it's controlling her now? We should destroy it before it does something worse. Private Carter, the same guard who had doubted Lumea before, stood near the dome room with a group of soldiers. She shouldn't be here, he muttered. None of us are safe while that thing is alive. A younger soldier looked nervous. She hasn't done anything wrong, he said. Carter turned to him. She already messed with Dr. Marquez, he said. What happens if she touches someone else? What if she gets loose? Inside the dome, Lumea sat quietly, unaware of the growing fear around her, or maybe she was aware. Elena noticed something strange during their next session. Lumea's glowing veins pulsed differently, not random. Not calm, faster, angry, scared. Elena reached out carefully. I'm sorry, she whispered. People are afraid, but I'm still here. Lumea tilted her head. Then suddenly, she raised her hand and drew a symbol in the air. A spiral, glowing, green. Elena recognized it. It was the same shape she had drawn earlier, when she first started communicating with Lumea. But now, the spiral was smaller, tighter, like a closed circle. Elena's stomach dropped. She's scared, she said aloud. She knows we're afraid of her. A new theory back in the lab. Elena stared at the data. There has to be a reason why her anatomy works this way, she said. Why she can share emotions through touch. Dr. Patel leaned forward. Maybe it's part of her evolution, he said. Some species develop traits that help them survive. If her people communicate this way, then maybe it's how they learn about each other, or even control each other. Elena shook her head. No, she said. This isn't control. This is connection. Pure and simple. But humans aren't built for that, Dr. Kim said. Our minds can't handle it. Elena looked back at the footage of her touch with Lumea. In slow motion, she saw Lumea's eyes widen slightly, saw her pulse quicken. She didn't expect it either, Elena said. Maybe she's never touched a human before. Maybe she didn't know what would happen. Reyes walked in. The military command wants answers, he said, and they want options. What kind of options? Elena asked. How to contain her, he said. Or remove her. Elena stood up. You can't, she said. She's not a threat. She's a guest, a student. We're learning from each other. Reyes looked at her closely. Listen to yourself, he said. You sound like you're defending her more than protecting your own people. I'm defending both, Elena said. If we run from her because we're scared, we'll never understand her, and we'll never understand ourselves. Reyes sighed. You have 48 hours, he said. Find proof she's not a danger, or we end this. He turned and left. Elena stood alone again. She looked at the screen, at the glowing lines Lumea had drawn, at the strange, beautiful language they were starting to build together. And she knew one thing for sure. This was no longer just science. This was a friendship, and she wouldn't let fear destroy it. Elena sat in front of the dome, her eyes locked on Lumea. 2 days had passed since she touched the alien girl. Since then, everything had changed. The military was watching more closely. The scientists were divided. Some wanted to study her. Others wanted to lock her away, or worse. But Elena didn't care about any of that. She only cared about one thing: understanding Lumea. And now, after days of silence, Lumea was finally ready to talk. Not with words, not with sounds, but with memories. A window into her mind, it started slowly. Lumea raised her hand again the same way she had before, and drew a symbol in the air. This time it wasn't just a circle or a spiral, it was something new. A glowing shape that looked like a flower made of stars. Elena stared at it, mesmerized. Then, without warning, the symbol pulsed. And suddenly, Elena wasn't in the lab anymore. She was somewhere else. Everywhere. She saw stars swirling in deep space. She felt the pull of gravity from planets she'd never seen. She heard voices that weren't speaking but still somehow understood. And then, she saw a younger version of Lumea, if that's what she even was, and standing on a world unlike Earth. The sky was purple. The trees glowed. Creatures floated in the air like jellyfish. Elena could feel the warmth of sunlight that wasn't from our sun. She could smell the air, sweet and sharp. And then, pain. Fire falling from the sky, people screaming, buildings breaking. Something was wrong, very wrong. And then the vision ended. Elena gasped and fell back. Her heart pounded like a drum. She looked up at Lumea, who was watching her carefully. "You showed me that," Elena whispered. Lumea blinked once. Slowly, Elena stood up. "She's not just sharing emotions," she said out loud. "She's showing me her past. I cure her piece by piece." Over the next few days, Elena tried again and again. Each time, Lumea shared another memory, bits and pieces of her life. She came from a planet called Vera 9, a place where beings like her lived in harmony, communicating through touch and emotion instead of speech. They didn't use machines like humans did. Instead, they used their bodies as tools. Their skin could change color. Their veins could glow with meaning. Their thoughts were felt, not spoken. But something happened. A disaster. Something destroyed their world. Not war, not disease. Something bigger. The skies turned red. The oceans boiled. The ground cracked. And so the survivors left. They built ships small enough to hide among stars. They traveled far, looking for help, looking for hope. And one of them landed here. Lumea. The price of fear. But not everyone believed in peace. Private Carter and his group were growing restless. They didn't want to understand Lumea. They wanted her gone. "She's dangerous," Carter told his fellow soldiers. "We've already seen what she can do. She messed with Dr. Marquez's mind. What happens if she touches someone else?" Another soldier, Private Lynn, shook her head. "She hasn't hurt anyone," Lynn said. "If anything, she's trying to tell us something." "Or trick us," Carter snapped. "You ever hear of a predator pretending to be helpless? That's how they get close." Lynn crossed her arms. "So what?" she asked. "You think we should just kill her?" "I think we should make sure she doesn't get the chance to hurt anyone else," Carter said. That night, while most of the base slept, Carter and 2 others snuck into the dome room. They had a plan. They would take Lumea, take her somewhere quiet, and end this. Chaos in the Labalina was asleep when the alarms went off. She jumped out of bed, threw on her coat, and ran to the dome room. By the time she got there, chaos had broken loose. Carter and his men were trying to move Lumea, but she knew, she sensed their fear, and when Carter grabbed her arm, it happened. He screamed, not because he was in pain, because he was overloaded. Like Elena before him, he was flooded with emotions that weren't his own: fear, sadness, longing, but also something else: desperation. Lumea wasn't just scared, she was begging for help. Carter collapsed to the floor, shaking. "Get him out," Reyes shouted. 2 medics rushed in and pulled Carter away. He kept muttering things. "They're all gone. I see fire." "I'm not real." Elena knelt beside Lumea. She was breathing fast. Her veins were glowing brighter than ever. "She didn't mean to hurt him," Elena said softly. "No," Reyes said. "But now we have a problem." He looked at her seriously. "We can't keep doing this," he said. "Too many people are getting hurt." "But we're so close," Elena begged. "I know we can understand her, I just need more time." Reyes sighed. "You have until morning," he said. "Find something useful, or we shut this down." A new plan back in her lab, Elena paced the floor. She needed proof. Proof that Lumea wasn't a threat. Proof that she was trying to help. And then, an idea hit her. "What if we build a barrier?" she asked out loud. Dr. Patel looked up from his notes. "A barrier?" he asked. "Yes," Elena said. "What if we create something between us and her, so we can touch her safely? Something that protects the human mind from the full force of her connection?" "That might work," Dr. Kim said. "We could design gloves lined with magnetic shielding. It won't block everything, but it could reduce the emotional overload. And maybe," Elena added, "we can finally ask her what she wants." On the first real conversation. Early the next morning, Elena returned to the dome. This time she wore the gloves. Lumea watched her carefully. Elena reached out. Their fingers met. And this time, nothing broke. No screams, no panic, just silence. And then slowly, Lumea began to show her something. Not memories this time. Words. Well, not exactly words. Feelings shaped like symbols. Elena saw help, lost, home gone, need friend. Elena's eyes filled with tears. "She's asking for help," she whispered. Lumea blinked, and for the first time since arriving on Earth, she smiled. Just a little. With glowing eyes and soft light in her veins, Elena smiled back. "It's okay," she said gently. "I'll help you." Elena sat in front of Lumea, still wearing the gloves. The dome room was quiet now. After the chaos with Private Carter, the military had calmed down. For now. Dr. Marquez had promised answers, and she was about to find them. She looked at Lumea's glowing skin, her calm eyes. "I want to understand you," Elena said softly. "All of you." Lumea tilted her head. Then slowly she raised her hand again. This time she didn't draw a symbol in the air. Instead she pointed to her chest. Right in the center. A soft glow pulsed beneath her translucent skin. Elena leaned closer. "What is that?" she whispered. "The heart. That thinks back in the lab." Elena pored over scans and data. The moment Lumea had pointed to her chest, something clicked in Elena's mind. That glowing part wasn't just an organ. It was something more. She reviewed the latest imaging results. What she saw made her gasp. Inside, Luma's chest was not a heart like a human's, it was a crystal core pulsing with green light. And inside it, layers upon layers of information, not just memories, but knowledge. "Dr. Patel," Elena called. He came running. "What did you find?" "This," Elena said, pointing at the screen. "It's not just a heart. It's a library, a neural archive. She carries the minds of her people inside her." Patel stared at the image. "You're saying this thing holds thoughts?" "More than that," Elena said. I think it holds lives, maybe even entire civilizations. They both stood there silent. If this was true, then Lumea wasn't just one person. She was many. She was a living record, a traveler carrying the voices of a lost world. Designed for connection. Elena returned to the dome room the next day. She had questions, so many questions. She held up a small tablet and drew a new symbol. Who are you? Lumea looked at it carefully. Then, slowly, she reached out and touched the screen. A new symbol appeared. We are Vera. Elena's breath caught. We? She asked. Lumea nodded once. Then, she placed her hand on her chest again. From within her crystal core, a soft pulse spread across her body. And suddenly, Elena felt something different. Not just emotions, not just memories, but voices, thousands of them, whispers in her mind. Not loud, not scary, just present. Like a crowd standing quietly in the background. She's not alone, Elena whispered. There are others. Inside her. Lumea blinked. Yes. A mission of peace. Over the next few days, Elena worked hard. She used the gloves to touch Lumea again and again. Each time she learned more. The Vera were not warriors. They were explorers, travelers. They sent beings like Lumea across the stars to make contact with new worlds. To learn, to share, to help. But they had rules. Rule 1. No physical contact unless invited. Rule 2. Only visit planets that show signs of intelligence. Rule 3. Never stay too long because some minds are not ready. Some species cannot handle the connection. And if they tried to communicate the way the Vera did, through shared emotion and memory, it could break the other being. Which is exactly what had happened with Elena, with Private Carter. They knew this might happen, Elena realized. That's why she didn't try to touch us first. She was waiting, Dr. Patel said, for us to reach out. And we did, Elena said. Too fast, without understanding. She looked back at Lumea. I'm sorry, she whispered. Lumea smiled gently. It was okay. She understood. A body failing. But soon another problem became clear. Lumea was getting weaker. Her glow was dimmer. Her movements slower. Elena checked her vitals. She's not eating, she said. She doesn't drink, she doesn't sleep, but her energy levels are dropping. Dr. Kim frowned. If she doesn't have food or water, how is she surviving at all? Elena thought for a moment. Then it hit her. She's not surviving, she said. She's fading. They ran tests. They scanned her core, and what they found chilled them. Lumea needed something Earth couldn't give. She needed specific types of starlight, certain wavelengths of cosmic energy. Without them, her body would shut down. She's dying, Elena said, voice breaking. Dr. Patel put a hand on her shoulder. There has to be a way, he said. Can we simulate the starlight? Create artificial conditions? We can try, Elena said, but we don't know enough yet. Reyes entered the room. I heard, he said. Is it bad? Elena nodded. She needs help, she said. Or she won't last much longer. Reyes looked at her closely. You really care about her, he said. I do, Elena said. She came here to find friends, and all we've done is fear her. Reyes sighed. I'll talk to Command, he said. See if we can get her what she needs. But deep down, everyone knew. Time was running out. The call for help that night, Elena sat alone with Lumea. She placed her gloved hand against the glass. Lumea mirrored her. Elena closed her eyes. I want to save you, she whispered. But I don't know how. Lumea pulsed softly. Then she moved her hand away from the glass. She raised both arms and began to draw. Lines of green light filled the air. Symbols, dozens of them. At first, Elena couldn't understand, but then slowly, the meaning came. Signal, send, call home. Elena's eyes widened. You want to call your people? She asked. Lumea nodded. They can help me, Elena said. If they know where you are. Lumea pointed to her chest. Yes, she seemed to say. They will come. Elena stood up. She ran to the control room. Reyes, she shouted. We need access to the satellite system. Reyes looked confused. Why? To send a message, Elena said. To Lumea's people. Reyes hesitated. You want to tell aliens we're holding one of their own? Yes, Elena said. Before she dies. Reyes studied her face. Then, finally, he nodded. Do it. The message goes out. They worked fast. Elena helped build a signal based on the patterns Lumea had shown her. They modified the base's old satellite array, and at dawn, they sent the message. A beam of light shot into the sky. A call across. Space a plea. We are here. We understand. Help us. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, far above, a faint response came back. A pulse. Weak, but real. Someone had heard. Lumea looked up. Her eyes lit with hope. Her glow grew brighter, just a little, but it was enough. Elena smiled. She's not alone anymore, she whispered. She's going to be okay. The next morning, the sky was clear. No clouds, no wind, just silence. Inside Facility Theta, Elena stood beside Lumea in the dome room. The alien girl's glow had grown weaker again. She sat quietly, eyes half closed, her breathing slow. Elena held up a hand. Lumea raised hers. They touched through the gloves, and for the first time, Elena didn't feel fear or panic. She felt peace. She knows, Elena whispered. Her people are coming. But not fast enough. Lumea was fading. Each hour made her dimmer, and the military command wasn't waiting. The clock ticks. Colonel Reyes walked into the lab with a grim face. We got orders from command, he said. They want Lumea. Move to a high-security facility in Nevada. Elena turned sharply. No, she said. You can't move her now, she's too weak. She won't survive the trip. Reyes looked down. I know, he said. But they don't care. They say this place isn't secure anymore, that we've already risked too much. They're scared, Dr. Patel said. They don't understand what she is. They see danger, Reyes replied. Not a dying girl. Elena clenched her fists. They can't take her, she said. I won't let them. Reyes sighed. You're running out of time, he said. Command gives us 24 hours before they send a team. Elena swallowed hard. That wasn't enough. But maybe it didn't have to be about them anymore. Maybe it had to be about everyone. The leak that night, Elena worked alone. She pulled up all the data, every scan, every symbol, every memory Lumea had shared. She put it all together into one simple file. Then she did something no scientist should ever do. She leaked it to the world. She sent it to news outlets, to universities, to social media. Everything. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Alien life found on Earth. She's not a threat, she's a messenger. Scientists say alien is dying because of us. People were shocked. Some called it fake news. Others called it the most important discovery in human history. Protests started outside military bases. Scientists demanded transparency. Religious leaders debated what it meant. And suddenly, the government couldn't just take Lumea away and hide her, because now the whole world was watching. The world reacts by morning. The pressure was unbearable. News helicopters circled the base. Reporters shouted questions at soldiers at the gates. World leaders began to speak. Some wanted to study Lumea. Some wanted to protect her. Some still feared her. Elena watched it all from inside the lab. Dr. Kim turned to her. You started a storm, he said. Elena nodded. I had to, she said. They wouldn't listen otherwise. Reyes came in, his face tired. Command is furious, he said. They want you arrested. They can try, Elena said calmly. Reyes shook his head. But they also can't ignore this anymore, he added. The president is holding an emergency meeting. They're asking for your input. Elena blinked. Me? You're the only one who understands her, he said. Now the world wants to hear what you have to say. Elena looked toward the dome room, toward Lumea. I already said everything I needed to, she whispered. It's time the world listened. Saying goodbye. Later that day, Elena entered the dome room one last time. Lumea was lying down now, barely able to sit up. Her light was very faint. Elena knelt beside the glass. She reached out. Lumea lifted her hand slowly. Their fingers met. Through the gloves, Elena felt something soft, a final message. Thank you. You understood me. You helped me. Elena's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. I wish I could have done more. Lumea blinked once, then, gently, she placed her glowing hand over her heart and gave Elena one last gift. A vision. Not of pain, not of loss, of hope. A future where humans and Vera met as friends, where they shared knowledge, where they learned from each other. A future where Lumea had not come to Earth in vain. When the vision ended, Elena opened her eyes and saw that Lumea was gone. Still, quiet, at peace. Someone is listening. That evening, as snow began to fall on the mountains, a signal returned, from space, weak but clear, a response to the message they had sent. Someone had heard Lumea's people. They were coming, not today, not tomorrow, but soon. Elena stood outside, looking up at the stars. Reyes joined her. She really wasn't alone, he said. No, Elena said softly. She never was. He looked at her. What now? He asked. Elena smiled. Now, she said, we get ready. For the first time in history, Earth had been seen, and someone out there was listening. End of Part 5, 1500 words.